We are here on YouTube. We are going to be here on Periscope, and this recording is going to be put on an Apple podcast that I've been developing here over the past couple of days. I've started it, and I wanted to talk a little bit about the combine, things I'm hearing down in Indianapolis, and the things that these coaches are pretty much saying. So today we had Matt Patricia, dressed in all black, kind of looking like he's a goth kid, which is fine. There's people that are goth, and I'm even wearing a black shirt myself. And Matt Patricia today was talking about how he said that he would have his team willing to throw the ball 50 times to win a game. Now, I know that that's just bulletin board talk. I know that that's just, boilerplate. We'll run it 40 times, throw it 50 times. I don't like that answer one bit. I want your offense to tell the defense what to do. I want the offense to throw it 30 times and run it 25 times. I like having balanced attack. I don't want your quarterback's arm to fall off. Now, Matt Patricia, his game style is that each week it's going to be a different game. So the one thing is it's going to be very hard to plan for his defenses because he's going to be adjusting on the fly, which also means you have to have great film people. And I love how this defense is going to be because each game, the defense will adapt to go after the weakness of the offense like a chess match, which I really like. However, offensively, his team is not going to play with a heavy hand offensively because it's going to be dictated on what the defense wants the offense to do, and I think that's the wrong play. I wish you had offensive linemen that could just barrel defenders down and force defenses into playing in an uncomfortable spot, not letting the defense, tell you, oh, we're going to play, cover 4, and you're just going to dump it off the whole game, or we're going to be playing, some deep cover 8 coverage, or we're going to put 7 in the box, and you're going to have to throw on us. If you put 7 in the box, the great teams that can still run the ball just can run the ball. And I'm never in favor of ever putting it in the air that many times. I don't believe in the short passing game. I mean, unless you have an Aaron Rodgers, unless you maybe have Garoppolo, unless you maybe have... There's even Carson Wentz is not a guy who's incredibly deadly accurate from like 5 to 10 yards. He's better throwing it 25 to 30 times a ball game. So you got to structure your offense based on the strengths of the team that you have, not on what the defense wants to do for you. So that was a question that I took, I wasn't exactly thrilled to hear Matt Patricia say that. Other than that, Patricia has a great attitude, saying that he wants to know these guys on a very personal level, saying that he wants to, he's evaluating the film. He wants to put his defensive players in place to do great things. I think that the defense is going to be awesome with Detroit. It's just with Jim Bob Cooter, he's going to have a ton on his plate. I don't exactly believe in Jim Bob. And we're going to have to see if Patricia either loves how Jim Bob does, or if Jim Bob's going to get fired, or if Jim Bob's going to continue to do okay. And we're going to have to see if this Lions team doesn't make the playoffs this year, then you might want to consider getting rid of Jim Bob Cooter. Even though Jim Bob is beloved there, the Lions need to produce, and the Lions need to make the playoff run. Another part that I talked about was Reggie McKenzie and Jon Gruden. That was another huge storyline today, was Amari Cooper. Jon Gruden calling Marshawn Lynch a beast, saying that he wants to get in touch with Marshawn Lynch. And again, during all these press conferences, no coach is going to rule out anything. They're going to compliment everybody. They're not going to insult everybody. But you have to listen to subtleties when you're listening to press conference. You have to listen to tone and cadence and how likable somebody is. With Ben McAdoo, he didn't spend any time with the media. He gave very little care to the media. Today, Pat Shurmur did an excellent job with the media. The press conference that Shurmur gave was very thoughtful. It was insightful. Shurmur's the type of person that if you had a daughter, you wouldn't mind your daughter dating Pat Shurmur. He's that type of wonderful person. Now, I'm sure if you had a daughter, you'd mind her dating a person who looks like Benjamin McAdoo, but also speaks like Benjamin McAdoo. McAdoo, he puts the C in condescending. He is a condescending outgoing person that looks down upon the press. And Shurmur and Gettleman do a very nice job of welcoming the press. And I've heard from many that Dave Gettleman, his personality in the press conferences is so good and so nice that he's like a politician out there. And that he basically is a completely different guy behind closed doors, and I totally believe it. He seems like a great guy to break bread with. He seems like a guy who's a lot of fun, nice guy, very outgoing personality, not the one that's portrayed by Norman, Steve Smith, Greg Olson, Thomas Davis, Luke Kuechly, and all of the Carolina fabric. He is very different in his press conferences. He does have to be the bad cop, but he comes across as likable and insightful. And today he talked about how he wants to get guys that love playing football. He talked about how the college football game doesn't prepare these guys for the NFL like it used to. He talked about how for the NFL, like how offensive linemen have to go about a big adjustment period. Talked about the hog mollies, how much he loves the hog mollies. And with Davis Webb, they basically didn't say anything negative about Webb, that they reviewed his practice tape, and Shurmur went as far to say that Davis Webb's practice tape is good practice tape, which is great. He also went ahead to say that the quarterback group is a talented group. Same with Gettleman. Gettleman also talked about the importance of drafting this high, how you need a generational type of talented player that changes around the course of your franchise. So if I were going to get a beat on where Gettleman is leaning, I think it would be Saquon or Quentin Nelson. I don't think it's Josh Rosen, and none of the reporters really asked Shurmur or Gettleman about the specifics of the quarterback. They also downplayed the combine interview. They said, quote, "We will not know a player's character based on a 15-minute sample size." So they downplayed it. So they're going to be going off of reputation, which means that Josh Rosen, even if he's incredible and perfect and godlike in an interview setting in Indianapolis, it's not going to make one difference to the Giants, because that combine interview with them is just the tip of it's basically carries almost no weight, because Gettleman said you can't get to know somebody in a 15-minute interval. It's an introduction, not a conclusion, not a base that we're going to be thinking about. So that stems good for the people like me that don't want Josh Rosen to be a New York Giant. That's very good news. But unfortunately, Gettleman and Shurmur both said that they're interested in the quarterback prospects in the class, and they did all of that because I guess that if you're interested in the quarterback class, you don't want to play your hand too early. You don't want Cleveland thinking that you're going to draft Barkley, because then they might just take him at the first spot. You don't want to, again, these combine interviews, you don't want to insult anybody. You don't want to insult any other team. He did talk about how the Eagles won a championship. He didn't compliment their fans, which I really liked. I thought that was good. Jon Gruden could do that. He's the Oakland Raiders coach. And then today we had Jon Gruden saying that Amari Cooper is a freaking stud. He's saying that Amari Cooper is going to be the focal point of his offense. He was head over heels for Amari Cooper. That was a little bit surprising, because usually you're supposed to like players, but the fact that Jon Gruden said that Amari Cooper is going to be the best player on the team on the offensive side of the football, that's got to make Amari Cooper feel good. I'm a big Amari Cooper fan, but Amari Cooper with this Todd Downing offense, he was kind of almost splitting the notoriety with Crabtree. So we'll have to see if Crabtree's re-signed or not. We're going to have to see about Jared Cook at the tight end position. And now Marshawn Lynch, Jon Gruden called him a beast. And listen, if Marshawn Lynch doesn't want to be a part of the Oakland Raiders, if he's going to be a distraction, Jon Gruden's got to have the balls to say to the hometown Marshawn Lynch, either you're going to be, committed to this thing, or unfortunately, we're not going to have room for you on the roster if you're not committed to this build. So Jon Gruden today taking the presser, and I think he did a very nice job. A couple of other pressers and notes, okay? Jonathan Stewart released. the 15-yard penalty in the NFL or the pass interference penalty being a spot foul, finally that's going to change. I addressed that earlier in my podcast. You can watch on the Apple Podcast. I think that that's a beautiful, beautiful move. It eliminates dumb luck. It eliminates pretty much everything. So I personally like that the 15 yards is going to be the only substantial penalty for the pass interference. Other notes, more coaches talking today at the Combine. I'm interested to hear from Frank Reich, from John Ballard, from Mike Vrabel, and John Robinson. All I'm going to do tonight is I'm going to be on my laptop. I might have basketball in the background. And all I'm going to be doing is watching those Combine interviews and seeing what these executives and what these guys had to say. Who's interesting? Who's answering questions in a provocative way? Jon Gruden did that just today, so he was great. Jon Stewart being cut is interesting. We'll have to see if the Giants like Jon Stewart. I don't think they are going to like him. But he was cut from Carolina today, probably making a lot of money. He's kind of an older back. We'll have to see Marty Herney already trying to make some aggressive moves down there. And then we're also going to have to check out. We're going to have to check out is basically the Jets got better by cutting Mo Wilkerson, who didn't give great effort and who Jets Central filled us in on is getting paid way too much. The Jets save $8 million on cap. A good move by Mike Maccagnan. Maccagnan took the floor today. Same with Todd Bowles. Going to be another day of media interviews. Tomorrow, Josh Allen steps to the podium. Baker Mayfield to the podium. Josh Rosen to the podium. Quarterbacks to the podium tomorrow. Lamar Jackson to the podium. I cannot wait. I hope all those interviews get released and we can react on those interviews tomorrow. Maybe a full hour podcast just on every single press conference because those players got to nail that puppy tomorrow. And then on Friday, offensive line, defensive line, and Saturday, the granddaddy of them all, wide receivers, the tight ends, and the running backs all take part in the NFL Combine. So it's going to be great. Listen, appreciate y'all hanging out. Appreciate you consuming the content. I got a couple of other videos tonight. I'm going to post some really good interview stuff with a lot of good dudes. And I'm going to post that. You guys are going to freaking love it here. Going to post it to Periscope, put it on YouTube, put it everywhere. This is Rover Sports. Thank you guys for listening.